just filling here. We're out at the Hrappstead Farm in Swan River. So talking a little bit today about Intelligent Ag and how useful it's been working with his new Bourgault 9950 cart on his Seedhawk toolbar. Two products here. We've got our Intelligent Ag modules mounted on the drill, our acoustic sensors here, and iPad control in the tractor. This drill is in phenomenal shape, this Seedhawk, and it does a hell of a job. Quite the unit. 80 foot, 12-inch spacing, using the Intelligent Ag to not only monitor blockages, but also relative flow. And relative flow can be important sometimes with a Bourgault. And the reason is when we have a distribution manifold on the cart, this is a A-type metering versus individual meter wheels run by run, metering into each run, we can have variance with the width. Now we're getting to 80 feet. It can be harder to push to some runs like the outer towers than the center frame, which is much closer to our distribution manifold. So we can get some variance issues there. Hose, things like hose bending down, back up makes a huge difference in overall resistance. You can see here on this hose right here, he's looped it around all the way around the front of the drill there, back to this tower to equalize his distribution system. This Intelligent Ag system has caught out quite a few problems for him this year and has been really, really successful. And so, and from him made him really comfortable sitting in the seat, because last year he did have some stripping in the field with the cart running on this toolbar. This toolbar is not new. It's not a Bourgault toolbar by any means. Doesn't need to be. Not running a blockage system before, he had towers, pole towers, seating heavier with a heavier fertilizer rate, some lighter with a lighter fertilizer rate, and seen quite a bit of stripping in the field. Now, Bourgault did get that problem figured out, and I think what he had said was that this accordion tube here, the steel tube on the outlet, the steel tube on the inlet, were at different heights, and so the accordion tube was sloped upwards or downwards by about 1/2 of an inch, and that made the difference of being about 20% out. I'll have to ask again, but I think it was between 18 and 22% out on some towers, to where he had lodged strips in the field. Now, he didn't know that till the crop came up, and was a huge issue for him last year. So this system's been really helpful, and has moved a whole bunch of hoses around to equalize the air volume and speed velocity of the system, so that the Intelligent Ag is really helping him tell him how accurate the cart is. So really been a successful thing. Hopefully we can get him to talk about it a little bit and see what he thinks, get the live action from him. But let's get this cart filled up first. So we just finished up seeding this field here. I was riding along with Carlos here, and he is running an 8012 Seedhawk, like we mentioned before, with a 9950 Bourgault. So your 80 runs, double shoot, seed and fert. How is the system? What did you notice? What problems did you see with the system?
Yeah, so we had a little bit of concern with variance between manifolds. Had seen some weak lodging and strips years past, so that was kind of my main driving reason for the purchase. Of course, the blockage thing is it's a good reason to buy it too. If that's your only reason. But anyway,
picked up a garbage bag earlier.
Yeah.
It's good that it catches a garbage bag plugged in your open. Yeah.
So anyway, the focusing on the variance thing, just amazing how even when you get even a small hole, our seed hoses were, I guess, getting to the end of their life. Even a small hole in the seed hose, you immediately drop to a lower percentage on that manifold, and it stays like that consistently. And you're like, hey, oh boy, the blockage system is messing up. You knew this variance probably wouldn't be accurate. And finally you decide, oh, you better get out and check the hoses or something. Oh, sure enough, there's a hose. This happened to us a couple of times, and then we finally decided to change the hoses, and there's a couple of them that we have to get back to field seeding, so we left them. And
So you had a couple holes, like 1/2 inch size holes in a hose, and then we changed a couple hoses over, right?
yes,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
We switched them out for new hoses.
Yeah.
Different.
Like on all at that time it was all the seed runs, or were we doing fert runs?
Just the seed.
Seed runs,
Seed,
okay.
Yeah.
So
Fertilizer was all new.
it changed a couple of seed hoses and then went back.
And I get back in the tractor again and start seeding, and I got variance here again. And I all of a sudden started thinking that it's actually the new hoses are putting on less product, and the old hoses are putting on more. So I switch out my old hoses for new ones all across the drill, and it immediately balanced everything out. So I think there was maybe friction in the new hoses. Some of the stories it told me were really neat to see, and just even changing a few lengths of hoses to equalize the variance was very responsive to if I add on 5 feet, I could get that percent down or whatever.
Because when we changed from this hose, because before you were running like a PVC hose,
Right.
and we went to urethane,
Yeah.
and we changed the urethane hoses on, switched it to urethane on, let's say 3 runs out of 8.
Yeah.
Noticeably, these 3 runs with the urethane hose, which had a higher rolling resistance of conveying product, brought our velocity down and was now pushing less product to these runs
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
of the A-type metering. So
Yeah.
that's a really good thing to have. Now that like this whole system throughout today was like bang on. When we were seeing relative flow across the drill, and when we got down into the canola side, the canola we seen a little bit of variance, but we were just putting down 5 pounds of seed. And then when we added 40 pounds of starter to the seed, right away the variance was much better. So it was really able to pick up big variances or smaller variances at an extremely low rate, which is pretty cool. On the fertilizer side all day was like, this thing was accurate.
Very close. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just from tweaking a few hoses of different lengths. What Intelligent Ag told me the story that you need to make some changes here on some hose lengths, and I did that. It responded properly, exactly the way I expected it, and brought it right into a very comfortable level of variance. And one other thing that it caught for me is that I had a little pin come out of my sectional control slide, and
on the Bourgault manifold.
yeah, and I'm watching that, and I'm like, oh, is my hose not cleaning out properly because it's too long, or what's going on? Finally, I was like, well, that thing is acting like the sectional control gate's maybe not working. I went back there, looked. Sure enough, a pin was missing, and otherwise, it was in a hard to see spot. I don't know if I would have caught it until next spring when I was really going over the drill really closely.
Right, sure.
And I was only metering out like 1 or 2 sections over there.
Yep.
It was still putting it out to this.
Oh, I see.
And I could always see that reading on this screen. Like, why is that thing never shutting off? You know?
Right. It's always we're always metering product out of it. Yeah.
And then of course there's the blockage, and I've caught numerous different blocks that I would have just small blockages. I've caught a couple things that would have given me a total drill plug too, where I stopped immediately once I saw stuff start to happen, and 10-15 minutes later I was going again versus spending 3 hours a month.
Yeah, or reseeding later on.
Yeah.
If you didn't notice, right?
Too.
Get lucky. It depends how often we want to get out of the drill and calibrate our product out of the openers too. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah. Anytime I thought that there was an issue with the blockage system, it turned out to just be an issue with the machine that the blockage system was telling me about. So
that's the good thing about having we're not actually controlling anything with it. It's not tied to anyone. So it's just a monitoring device. So we can still have issues with it like anything else.
Hey guys, we wanted to thank you for watching that video, and I also wanted to go over some of the key points of that video to give everybody a little bit of clarity on it. And so we wanted to talk about Intelligent Ag and the benefits that can come from it. What happened exactly in this customer's instance? So this customer bought a brand new cart, and the first year he had went out, utilized this cart without a blockage system on the drill. And so he had owned this drill for many years, Seed Hawk, 80 foot, very nice drill, very clean and tidy, well taken care of unit. He was experiencing on 3 or 4 towers 20% higher volume coming out of that tower manifold, and that was giving him lodging in the field. And so 20% higher product on 250 pounds plus of fertilizer. That was able to see pretty drastically with the rainfall he had that there was some serious lodging going on in his wheat last year. We kind of wanted to show you what was going on, kind of share his experiences with it. So he had the 2 inlet tubes coming from the front of the cart into his even stream distribution system on the Bourgault cart that were misaligned from factory, and he was very clear that he wanted to clarify that the dealer and Bourgault came to the table, helped him out, got him up and running, and made sure it was fixed and solved for the next year. So we definitely want to note that in the video. We wanted to kind of put Intelligent Ag on that drill to give him peace of mind and clarity sitting in the tractor seat. The biggest thing with metering systems, A-type metering systems that were used, these metering systems have been used for many, many years, and they boast simplicity. They are easiest when it comes to simplicity. And they're actually very, very accurate when it comes to metering. Where they struggle is distribution left to right on the drill itself, so tower to tower differences. Now that's one of the key things that we can monitor and measure with Intelligent Ag, and in this instance was absolutely mind-blowing to how accurate it was. He had actually, after the first season, when he had seen the stripping in the field, the lodging in the field, he had actually reached out to us and we had advised him to do bag tests or calibrated bag tests. So this is something that most customers, if I ever had a conversation with them with a A-type metering system, they would tell me go and pound sand. For a lack of a better term, they say there's no heckin' way, or no way am I going to do that. And so what we're doing there is we are physically putting the drill up in the air, lifting the openers out of the ground, putting a pail under every single opener, metering through 500 to 1,000 pounds of product to get a good snapshot of what that drill is outputting. So it's going to put 4 to 7 pounds. That's what we're kind of targeting out of every opener. And then we can measure, put every single pail on a scale, and weigh and tally up what every tower on the drill is outputting. So then we can take that and see our total product rate and see how high or how low each tower was performing. If it's 5% high, 5% less, 20% high, 20% less. These are, 5% we have a little bit of wiggle room for variance, 20% too much. We can't be that high. In this case, the customer had been doing pail tests to prove his theory and was able to determine that that tube was the issue so that they can get it fixed up. Now this year they get into the tractor seat with a full blockage system on the drill, the ability to tell and measure tower to tower differences. So you'll see right here this number 4, 3, -4, -3. That is what it's telling you on that Intelligent Ag blockage system, is that tower is metering out or is distributing out 3 or 4% less than the average across the drill. And so if you start to see that drop to 20% low, okay, we need to be doing something about that, stopping the tractor. Maybe I got a partial plug coming on. Maybe I got a hose that's collapsed or kinked or caught in the frame somewhere. Maybe I just got a distribution issue and I need to address it. And so this is able to give him the tools to say, stop the tractor, make sure I have no issues and I don't have any stripping on the field, because we don't want that, especially not on the highway. And so this has been a really great tool for that. An overview on the blockage system, all we're doing here is we are utilizing auditory sensors or acoustic sensors, which internally have no electronic parts. So they are really the simplest and yet the most accurate blockage system out there. With product coming in, it is targeting a stainless diaphragm here that naturally deflects with product hitting it. The product then continues on, and we have a auditory hose here that is routed to a module. Now there's one module mounted to every single tower on the drill, and in this module there's 14 digital microphones that an auditory hose can hook up to, and it is not visually looking at the product, it is listening to the product flow going through the hose. So some of the things that this gives us as an advantage is our sensors. We've ran a John Deere blockage system on our own drill, and the new ones with the relative flow are very nice. The older ones, if you've ran them, you're changing sensors. and they're giving you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And if you got 4 seeds going through there every 10 seconds through your 1-inch hose or your 1.25-inch hose, it's just saying you're all good, no worries here. It's giving you a green light or a red light. And so what this is able to do is tell you, hey, you are less than you were before. So it's not waiting until product flow stops. It's going to start warning you when you're putting out less product than you were just a minute ago. There's no electronic components. Each sensor is a mechanical sensor. So the sensors are overall cheaper, they are longer lasting, and there's no 3-wire connector to every sensor. So before we had a tower with 10 ports like this one here, there's 10 sensors, and there's a harness going to every sensor in a drill surrounded and covered in fertilizer over the season. That's not our goal. So this sensor, we have that much less wiring and harnessing over the drill. We have just a module here and a daisy chain harness that jumps from one module to the next, to the next, to the next, and it is broadcasting all of that information wirelessly to the tractor. And it is absolutely stout to what it can achieve today versus blockage systems 15 years ago. It is absolutely amazing. And so it's very cost effective too. But the nice thing is that if that grower is continuing to farm for the next 10 years, he can take that from this drill. Next year, that drill, he's upgrading. He's just getting started in his farming career. He needs a blockage system on this drill. This blockage system is not hardwired. It's not tied to anybody. So you can undo it, take it to the next drill, the drill after that, the drill after that. So you're not putting that investment, you're not losing that investment into maybe a drill that's even worth less. So we're putting this all the way on from brand new drills right off the factory line. Customers ordering their drills worth nothing, and we're putting Intelligent Ag on them, or right to the earliest of drills in the early 90s or the late 80s, and anywhere in between. So it's a very versatile, easy kit, and it's not tied to one tractor or the next. We're taking the iPad out of it, and we're switching to the new tractor. If you have a tractor go down, you can switch it from one to the next. It's not wired in or tied to that tractor either. Now, with this customer in general, he had measured product coming out of every single opener and had got a calibrated, a tested, proven value, what is coming out of every single tower. And the Intelligent Ag was proving to be within 1% or 2% of what he was actually measuring with the pail and a scale, doing it the old school way, doing it the slow yet correct way. He was hitting that bang on the money. And so now having that results in his mind from when he was under there slugging away, taking weights, he knows that system's going to tell him right. And this year, for the example, he gave the example of a hose change. So he calls me later in the evening one night and he says, man, this blockage system is screwing up. We had kind of talked about it a little bit, and he said we had 3 or 4 towers that were putting out 20% less. I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. Well, it hasn't acted up on you all year, so I might want to look further into that. And so sure enough, he was seating in the dark, and the hoses were hidden under the frame, and they had a hole in the bottom side of the hose, and it was shooting product from the ground. He couldn't see it. And so he's like, oh yeah, you got me right on. It was that. So what he had done is he had changed from PVC hose that he had had on the seed rows, and he had went to a polyurethane hose. Now, polyurethane hose you would recognize with the ribs on the external side. Now that's what he had in the shop. So he'd ripped the PVC off, changed just those 4 hoses with urethane. Gets back in the tractor. Wow, nope, that wasn't it. It's still reading 20% low. I wasn't able to answer that call, but he was able to figure it out on his own. Now, what he had noticed is that this urethane being brand new, it is a softer makeup of hose, and it creates an air system restriction overall. And it's not as smooth as the cheaper, smooth or as hard as the cheaper PVC hose. And so naturally, it restricts air system velocity and creates a little bit of drag. And he goes, I wonder if that's it. So he changes the rest of the hoses on the seed run to polyurethane, and sure enough, Intelligent Ag, bang on the money, everything's back. Pretty interesting to know that and to have that when you're seeding. To just go out and change hoses, that's completely normal. Every grower's out there changing one hose at a time. During seeding season, duct taping it up, whatever the case may be. If it gets bad, we're changing a couple hoses this morning before we get going. It's pretty interesting to know that he was 20% lower in in volume and velocity just by changing hoses. This is something we've been dealing with for quite some time now, and it is absolutely phenomenal. If you have any questions at all, give us a call and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. There's many ways you can configure this. There's many different solutions, but we'll tailor one, we promise, that fits to you. So we'll make it work for you, your operation, your seeder, your farm. And if you have any questions at all, reach out. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.